You know that feedback is an essential part of effective communication and leadership. But if you're like a lot of people, you might be wondering, what does effective feedback really look like? Well, wonder no more, because in this video, I'm going to give you the components, and by the end, you'll know exactly what effective feedback really looks like. And if you want even more advice on how to give and receive feedback and other courageous leadership tips, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos each week. When I first started my career over 20 years ago, I thought I was pretty good at communicating. And I'm not going to say I was bad, but I definitely had a lot to learn. And I have learned a lot over the last 20 years about what effective feedback is and what it is not. And in today's video, I'm going to share those lessons learned with you. So let's dive in. Okay, so what does effective feedback really look like? Well, I've developed a handy acronym to help you remember the 5 components, and that acronym is STOPS, S-T-O-P-S. We're going to go into each one of these components in this video, and you'll have a full understanding of what those components are. And the first one, part 1, the first S is safe space. And I cannot stress enough how important this is. In order for your team to give you open and honest feedback, and for them to receive feedback in a good way from you, they have to feel safe. Without a safe space, first and foremost, you don't have true feedback happening within your team. In our Courageous Leaders program, we talk a lot about how to set the stage and create a safe space to lay the foundation for a feedback culture and to prep your team to really be comfortable with giving and receiving feedback, especially if you haven't really had that dynamic before. This is going to be very new territory, and people aren't necessarily going to trust this new way of communicating right off the bat. So you have to create a safe space. That is absolutely step 1 and component 1 when we're talking about effective feedback. Give me a yes in the comments below if you've ever been in that situation where you really wanted to give somebody some feedback, but you just didn't feel safe doing it, and so you didn't do it. Or maybe you did go ahead and give that feedback and it was used against you. It wasn't a safe space. Give me a yes in the comments below if you can identify with just how important that is, that need to have that safe space, to have open and honest feedback. Okay, the next component is T for timing. Feedback should be given as soon as possible following the behavior you want to address. And that's true for whether you are giving somebody praise, positive feedback for something they've done well, or whether you're addressing an unwanted behavior and giving some critical feedback. Either way, you want to provide that feedback as soon as possible. Delaying the conversation, delaying giving feedback just dilutes your message. It dilutes the meaningfulness of the feedback. So aim to do that if you can within the same day. If doing that feedback conversation that same day isn't feasible, try to do it within at least a couple days from when the behavior was demonstrated. It's just going to make what you have to say so much more meaningful, and it's going to increase the likelihood that somebody's going to repeat positive behavior, and you're going to go ahead and address unwanted behavior quickly and reduce the likelihood that it's going to happen again and just make you frustrated again. The next component is O for objective. And this is basically saying that the feedback you want to give is about the demonstrated behavior, not about the person. So you want to give feedback on what they've done, not who they are. Don't make it personal. Really just focus on what behavior they demonstrated, and either telling them that was positive, that you'd like to see that again, or that wasn't a desirable behavior and you want to talk about an action plan so that they can work on not repeating that behavior. But it's not about who they are, being a good or bad person or a good or bad employee or a team member. It's just about the behavior and wanting to either see that behavior repeated or not. All right, I'll admit it, I took a little bit of liberty with this next letter in our acronym, this next component, because the letter is P, but it actually stands for 2 things, positive and critical. And what I mean by that is it's really important to have a balance of positive and critical feedback for your individual team members and to your team as a whole. And I'm not going to give you a specific ratio because I think it's more important that the feedback be genuine. And I talk a lot with my clients and in our Courageous Leaders program about really having feedback be part of the culture. And so if you are really working to have feedback be a true part of your culture and having that constant feedback loop, then having this balance of positive and critical feedback will come naturally. You will automatically be giving feedback when things go well and go right and talking about repeating that. And then it'll naturally come where you will give critical feedback, where you will take a look at things and see maybe where things could be better or what you don't want to do again. It really is about having that balance and doing both positive and critical feedback as a part of your effective feedback loop. Okay, so the last letter in our acronym, our second S, is for specific. It's really important to be specific when you are giving feedback. Try to avoid vague statements like, you're doing a good job, or that wasn't so great. That doesn't really help people. Again, you want to give people feedback so they know whether to repeat a behavior or to change a behavior or improve. And if you're just saying generally to somebody, oh, you're doing a good job, keep it up. Keep what up? What should I keep doing? Or, oh, over the last 6 months, you really haven't been doing so great. Okay, well, what does that mean? Really provide specific feedback and information. Tell somebody exactly what they've done well or exactly what you'd like to see them change. And that's really going to help them take that feedback and grow and improve. All right, time for a quick recap. So the 5 components of effective feedback are the STOPS acronym: safe space, timing, objective, positive and critical, and specific. Not only is that just a handy acronym to help you remember the 5 components of effective feedback, but it also is meant to help you understand that effective feedback stops a negative culture. It stops frustration, and it really does help promote just a positive work environment and a positive work experience. So now you know the 5 components of effective feedback, but even though you know those components, I really did keep this video pretty high level for the sake of time. But lucky for you, I created a 15-page guide that really delves into each of these components more deeply and gives you some concrete activities that you can do to help implement each of these components. And you can download that for free by clicking on the link that's in the description of the video. If you found this video valuable, please be sure to hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share the video with your friends. And be sure to check back each week when I release new content. Be well and be courageous.